I know, I keep on doing this because I'm nervous and I'm scared. Okay, well. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Max, and today on the Book Champ, we're gonna be talking about. I'm excited but scared because I don't want to remember what I read. We're gonna be talking about Devolution by Max Brooks. First-hand account of the Rainier Sasquatch Massacre. Ooh. So this book revolves around the community way up there in like Mount Rainier. That's how you pronounce it. Sorry. Strike one. And this young couple goes there. It's called Green Loop, the community, and everyone is kind of like, "Hi, welcome. We're totally green. We recycle." They have everything. They're like commodities from the city, but they just want to live away from the people. So red flag number one. And her main character is Kate, and that's who is telling the story. We're essentially just reading her novel, of course. We're essentially just reading like the journal she's writing because she's been going to therapy. She hasn't been feeling like mentally well at all. She's kind of like in a slump with her boyfriend. They're both depressed and they just want to get out there like. The thing about the book is that it kind of like switches perspectives sometimes. You're reading Kate's journal, like what's happening, and other chapters were switched to the present where they're looking for them. Like nobody knows what happened to that community. They've gone missing. Nobody knows anything about them, guys. Kind of like just like something happens, and then like the book works towards that in the end. So everything is told in first person, and I thought it was more personal. That's what I really like. Like I love me like great stories, but when it's like in the journal time, like I'm totally like in there, you know. I love snooping around in people's notes, so imagine me like this was a frenzy, guys. They're next to like a volcano that erupts and like closes off the only road leading up to that community. And guess what happens, guys? I mean, it just quickly turns like Friday the 13th here, except like Jason is being played by the Sasquatch, a family of Sasquatches, which is, I'm like, what? I didn't know if I wanted to continue because I was thinking Sasquatch would be always approachable, you know. I would stick on my hand and he would like grace it and we'd be like, yeah. And I don't know, we'd like eat apples on our like nature walk or something. But in this one, I was like, oh my god, I kind of wanted to stop reading because I got scared. So I was like, but I powered through it, guys, and thus I'm here to tell you, keep on getting ahead of myself. Okay, back on track. So this volcano, like I was saying, guys, you know, why would don't go to a community that's only has like one road in and out. It's like next to a freaking volcano and you know nothing about the terrain. I mean, come on. It's like me wanting to, like, I don't know, live in a boat in the ocean and not know how to swim or fish or like, come on, guys, give yourself like a fighting chance. So that's like red flag number 2, guys. And so everybody's freaking out. There's no internet, there's no signal, nothing. Like, oh my god, red flag number 3, guys. I was like, oh, here it comes. And so the leader, the like handsome guy with his perfect like statuesque model wife, the husband just calms everybody down by throwing some jokes like, hey, okay, we're just gonna have to rationalize here, but we're fine, we're out of danger, the lava is flowing that way, and we're so totally gonna be okay because they are helping us. And people are like, who are they? The people that plan to make this community as safe as possible, and they know we're here. We just have to calm down and they're gonna come for us. And I was like, what? I was red flag number 3, guys. Like, what? There's a freaking volcano that just erupted. Freaking lava's like oozing down, and you're like, oh, don't worry about it, darling. Here, have a cup of tea. I'm like, I would have gotten out of there. And everything's pretty cool, you know, waiting it out. And I'm like, okay. Even Kate's kind of like, I don't think I'm like the weakest link here, and even I know this is kind of dangerous. So she writes in her journal like how people are panicking. It's quickly turned into like Lord of the Flies or Hunger Games there. And you know, at one point, like that's like the least of their least of their worries, guys, because this is about freaking Bigfoot, and you're just like, oh shoot, how can this possibly get any worse? And it does. Like 100%. The main character does kind of like, hey, I think I saw something, or there's a big boulder and it moved, but I think it kind of might have been me, because blah blah blah. You know how you try and rationalize like the weird stuff that you're seeing in the dark next to like a volcano with flowing lava, and you're like, yeah, it's just totally me. Whenever she thinks she sees something, there's this smell, like a garbagey smell, but like real potent, and I'm like, yeah man, like that's really flag number 4 or 5, guys. Like, I would have been out. It does say that Green Loop isn't like in a blackout zone, like nobody was gonna be looking for it. Like, they knew that community was there, but they weren't gonna like really actively try and like find people there. Like, they were on their own, guys. Like, once that internet went away, once the signal was cut off, like that was it, guys. They were gone. Like, they were cut off from society. Nobody was gonna go looking for them. Like, just cross your fingers that the lava doesn't get you. So in her journal, Kate's describing like what she's feeling. Like, she feels a little bit scared. Her neighbors are like, I think, kind of weird. There's this one neighbor that just like comes into her house and starts like making a garden inside her garage. And at night, so nobody knows what she's doing. Stuff that happens in communities when everybody's just kind of like, when they're panicking, you know, and you feel the tension rising up, and then it slowly builds up to when they actually like come face to face with like Bigfoot. And Bigfoot isn't nice, guys. And guess what? He travels in like a family pack, because literally, guys, there is like a grandma, and the alpha is like legit a girl, you know. It's like an alpha female. There's no like Sasquatch man that's an alpha. It's just her. And I'm like, oh, like Max Brooks took like inspiration from The Walking Dead, where alpha is like literally like a woman. So I was like, okay, let's see how this works. I thought it was gonna be like little fighting, but she is vicious, guys. Like, it's never good news when the villain is like an animal and it's a female, because they're ferocious. They don't play nice. Bigfoot is like not having it with having them in their wildlife space. They're like, It's not that they did something bad to them on purpose. It's not anything personal. It's just like a territory thing. And once they start like not being afraid of them, guys, of humans, they go all out. Like, it is an all out, like, yeah, like the Walking Dead type of like feud, like like with spears and knives and rocks and like more spears, and like a family that fights together, guys, stays together. Like, literally, Bigfoot has like kids, and then the kids are already having kids, like legit, like a family. And so like, okay, it was a good movie, guys. It was a really good book, guys. That like monstrous fight, guys, like, oh shoot, guys, like it feels like you're in a theater watching in IMAX, and the screen itself is like moving all around you, guys. It is immersive. Wow, like I've never read a great fight scene, and I could totally like feel like it was totally like choreographed, like a movie, guys. Like, I'm watching a movie and I'm totally satisfied with what I'm seeing. Holding my breath, I'm like, oh my god. Oh, like you want to like pick up a spear and help them, you know. Like, that's how much like it really got me. It did remind me a lot of Twilight. You know how the main character like starts off being like very weak, very vulnerable, like the weakest thing, absolutely the weakest thing, to like having like guts, guys. Like, really, it wasn't like from now I'm gonna be super cool and fight. It was a situation between like either fight or flight, and literally there wasn't an option to like for flight. Like, you had to like fight, because they were I thought I saw something move. Sorry. You see how scared it got me, guys. I was like, dude, I'm gonna sleep with my lights on tonight. Sorry. Okay, back to it. It was a flight or fight. Okay, you can totally tell I'm gonna flight, okay? Not a fighting. I'm gonna take off. There are quite a few characters, but it really just sticks to like the main character, which it makes it so much easier to follow the story instead of following like, oh, what happened to this guy, or what happened to this family, or whatever. So I did feel like the story, sometimes I would be like, oh, who's this again? But it wasn't like a huge deal for me. It wasn't like a deal breaker, like, oh, I'm totally lost. Like, even though like I forgot like whose kids were whose, or who was married to who, or whatever, like it was still like danger was real, and everyone was like had to be on it. Everyone would have had to have like a survival buddy to make it. The pacing of the book I thought was very good. I never once felt like bored reading it. I always felt like, oh shoot, like when it's gonna happen. It's kind of like when you watch Sicario, you know that part when they're at the bridge and the music is just done. It's setting up the tension. It's bringing up that tension, and you're like, any minute now, what's gonna happen? So I do like that the tension is like slowly like notched up and up and up and up. So it's 304 pages, guys. Like, honestly, like, it felt like a lot more, but in a good way. And it wasn't just leading to like that one big fat Indian. There were several like instances like where people were getting hurt, guys. Like, people were getting killed off by these Bigfoots, this Bigfoot family. And you're like, oh shoot, like that happened to that character. Like, I thought they were gonna be safe. I don't want to say too much about the ending because it is about, you know, you finding out, you reading it along. I think if somebody would have spoiled it for me, it would have taken a lot of the fun out. And I did, even though I was super scared, I really did have lots of fun reading this, guys. So I'm gonna give Devolution by Max Brooks a freaking crown of justice, guys. If you substitute the Bigfoot by something real, something natural, that's why it immediately scares you, and you're like, you see yourself exactly like this character, just kind of like unprepared, having to freaking legitly fight for your life with these giants, and you're like, most probably I'm not gonna make it, but I need to like buck up or shut up. And then throw some kids in the mix as well. You're like, oh my gosh, like no. That's why it kept me so like on edge. Like, there were adults and then there were kids there, and you're like, these are too many people, and I know not all of you are gonna make it. Totally loved it, guys. I have not read any of his other books. He has a bunch of them, and I'm pretty sure they're similar like this. I'm so glad that this was my first one, even though I do have his books, World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide. I have them. I have not read them. I don't know what I was waiting for. Probably the pandemic to pass over for me to read it. So stay tuned, guys. I'm gonna read his books, and they'll be coming up in future videos. So that was it, guys. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this book. If you're planning to read it, I highly, like, totally suggest it. I wasn't expecting what I got from Bigfoot here, and I totally loved it. Always be aware of your surroundings. Just be ready. Like be ready. Take care of yourselves. That's like a big thank you so much for watching, guys. Give this video a like, and if you like what you see and you want to see more of me ranting and like freaking out, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little notification bell. It's always gonna tell you when my videos are uploaded. It's gonna be like, boom boom, hey, she's talking about another book, and I'll be like, yeah, hi, welcome. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.